All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to, I guess, the officially second edition of the Mama to Mama Chats from Hearty Mama. I'm Betsy Cummings, and I am coming to you from my makeshift office in Westminster, Colorado tonight. I am so happy and excited to have Kristin on the show with us tonight. We are going to be chatting lots of really great resource and almost like shall I say, like exercises type situations to really help mamas in this crazy time right now that we're living in. And really just make sure that we are staying grounded in our life, and lots of things that we can do to be happier and healthier. So I kind of wanted to just kick it off with what I'm doing here with these Mama to Mama chats, a lot of resources, information, and also just providing an outlet for moms that might not be able to go to their, breastfeeding group or mama group or their, play dates, things like that they were doing before to keep their mental health in check before we were all, basically quarantined and locked down. So what I want to do here is provide resources in your home on your time that are really going to help keep you happy and healthy over the next few months, hopefully longer than that. But I really love that so many women that I am already friends with, already have in my, group and circle, have so much wealth of knowledge and so much information on a plethora of topics that I can really hopefully bring to the table for everyone to pick and choose kind of what fits with them in their life. So super excited to bring you more of these. And yeah, I think we'll just let Kristin kind of jump into what she's talking about tonight. We will definitely have this, some links and resources at the end, and also provide Kristin's information if you guys have further questions for her or us after this. Feel free to reach out. But just to touch on how Kristin and I met, we met through my brother and his circle of friends years ago in Boulder, and have stayed in contact. We're both moms of 2 little boys, so have that in common. But yeah, we have recently connected. I think I've been on somewhat of a self-development journey the past 5 to 6 years since I became a mom. I feel like that really started it for me. And really in the past, 30 to 60 days, as things have evolved in the temperature of what's going on in the world and just my personal goals for 2020 has brought me to kind of a place of reevaluating a lot of things, ways of thinking for me, actions, like literally being forced to shift and shift my mindset and shift what I'm doing every day. And the fact that I'm an event producer and I literally can't do events right now. So kind of led me to having this little mini awakening, I shall say, that Kristin has been a little bit of a guide for me, and also put together this amazing group of support that I'm so excited to be a part of in the future. And really just kind of put us back into connection after knowing each other for years. And I'm super excited to see how our relationship can, help each other, and also learning from her in this modern spirituality realm. So Kristin, thanks for being here, and so happy to hear what you have to say. And go ahead and jump in, and I'll just kind of have questions as things pop up that I think people might, have as you continue on.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Betsy. This is exciting. This is sort of my first public forum of chatting, so it's cool. I've been studying psychology and spirituality on my own, I don't know, for 20-something years, 20 years, I don't know. I'm 37 now, so yeah, over 20 years, and it's been a crazy journey, and I had a spiritual awakening over a year ago. I mean, I've had many, many awakenings along the way, and then one really, really significant awakening about a year ago, and it shifted my perspective on pretty much everything. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about judgment of others and being judged, and sort of the challenges of working with judgment in our lives. And we know as moms, this is such a huge topic, and it's we hear people talking about it all the time. Don't judge, others, no mom shaming, and we find ourselves doing that often, judging. Before I really dive in, I want to just suggest, if somebody's not in a space to be working on their own self-judgment, that's totally okay. And this video might not be the right time for this for you. And so if you're feeling like, oh, it's just one more thing on my list, shut it off and come back to it later, right? And we trust our intuition and our resistance to consuming information that doesn't feel right for us at that time. But if you are somebody who is interested in working on the judgments that you feel arise in yourself, or if you're feeling judged, this would be a really good video for you. So, okay, I wanted to start with that. And so first of all, I want to give a little definition about how I perceive judgment versus shaming. So judgment are thoughts that arise in your head. And usually they're associated with certain feelings: disgust, frustration, anger, sadness. But the thoughts cause the feelings. And the thoughts sound like, she shouldn't do, she's not a good, you can fill in the blank, she's harming, whatever, some sort of negative opinion or conclusion that you've come to about another person. Of course, you can also have judgments on yourself. I'm not a good mom. I shouldn't do. We should on ourselves all the time. And carrying all those shoulds can be such a heavy burden. So I'm hoping to give you tools today to cast off some of those self-judgments, because what you'll learn is that all of those external judgments are really self-judgments at the end of the day. And they're harming you when you're making judgments about other people. So shame is the externalization of feelings you haven't dealt with within yourself. So if you're feeling a judgment, a thought arise, oh, she shouldn't do, and then you get all this anxiety and pent up frustration about what somebody else is doing, you might, maybe even with best intentions, try to make them see your point of view. And maybe even in your mind, you're thinking you're helping them. Or maybe you're just reacting out of your own emotions of frustration and fear. And you might try to make them feel shame, which is feeling ashamed. Shaming someone is trying to make somebody feel ashamed. So, and through that shame, maybe they would make the choice that you think is right for them. So those are the two different things I would, it's an important distinction, and you can decide for yourself whether or not shaming somebody is the right choice for me. I've decided shaming does not make me feel good, and I really work hard to try to not approach anybody in a way that might make them feel ashamed, though I am not responsible for people's feelings, and neither are you. So I will say that. Okay, so next, we have a lot of baggage around the word judgment and judging others. And I want to say that having thoughts that are judging thoughts is not inherently bad. You are not a bad person if you have judgmental thoughts. This is a normal part of our human brain, and it is part of our survival mechanism to decide what works for us and what doesn't work for us, what keeps us safe and healthy and what doesn't serve us. It is 100% normal to have judgments. So if you see judgmental thoughts arise in your mind, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Remember that it's part of your normal humanity. So then you ask, maybe, what can you do? What should you do if you see a judgment arise? So first is acceptance. We love and accept the experience that we're having. And you can just say, oh, it's a judgment. And then you can choose what to do with it from there. The beautiful thing about judgments, if you can notice when they arise, and you can stop yourself in the moment and take a step back and look at it sort of from the outside, it's like this really beautiful opportunity to do some self-work, to go inside and figure out where that judgment is coming from. And so here are some tools that will help you with that. In order to explain the tools, I think the best thing to do is to give an example. So, okay, it's just easiest to use my own examples. So I'll be a little bit vulnerable with you. I'm going to give you 2 examples. The first is the time when I've judged another parent, and then another one will be, I'll get to that next. Okay, so the first time is saying something like, okay, she shouldn't yell at that child, right? She should be more patient with that child. I've had that judgment before. Definitely had that judgment a ton before I was a parent, but I still sometimes have that judgment, is that, okay, that person shouldn't be so aggressive with their child. And I can choose in that moment to do something with that, like tell her, you shouldn't do that, right? That's one way of channeling that emotion, because what comes up when I think that somebody shouldn't be aggressive with their child is fear for that child, concern, worry, anxiety. I notice those, I break it down to the basic feelings that come up with that thought. Those are mine to deal with. That is not her fault. That is based on thoughts and beliefs that I have in myself that's causing those feelings to stir. So she just triggered it. So she yelled at her child, and then I'm having this judgment. So then I notice the feelings and I pick those up, and then I think, okay, so what do I believe about this situation right now? I believe that she's not having patience or whatever. Whatever conclusions I can come to. And then really, whatever, and then you think about the advice you would give that mom. Okay, you should be more patient. You should be more this. And if you apply that, all judgment external of yourself is really self-judgment. It becomes, I should be more patient with her. I should be more patient with my child. I should be more patient with myself when I get angry with my child. So whatever gets triggered in you is actually what you can use to realize where you're being judgmental on yourself, on this other person. I'm going to teach you a tool that's going to take you through this a little bit more logically. There's one other example I want to give, and this is the judgment of other people being judgmental. Because I feel this is a little more clear for me, because this is my real sticking point. All the time, I just want to tell people, stop telling people how to live, right? See somebody on Facebook saying, can we all just do this? We all need to do this. And I want to write back, stop telling people what's right for them. Stop telling people what to do. If I did that, I would be telling her what to do. So I would be not heeding my own advice that I would be giving her. And I would be doing the very thing that I think she is doing. I'd be such a hypocrite. So with that judgment, it can continue. Then she could judge me for judging her for judging other people. I become the judger of people who judge, which is my sticking point most often. I judge other people who judge, instead of realizing that is a normal part of being a human. So what I do with that, when I see judgment of other people, see other people judging and I see myself judging them, is I take it inside and I say, okay, why does it bother me so much? Why does it bother me so much that she's telling somebody what to do? I saw somebody today saying, when we're walking outside, we should all say hi to each other. I just said hi to somebody and they didn't say hi back. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You're upset. Somebody didn't say hi back to you. I'm like, it seems so trivial. Like, get over it. We're all doing our best right now. Like, you can't just tell everybody how to treat you, your whole life. What are you going to do? Go around telling everybody how to communicate with you? Aren't you going to be frustrated? Do your own inner work. Well, it was a call to me to do my own inner work right then, because I was frustrated with this woman. So anyway, I took it inside. What is this? Why am I so frustrated with this woman right now? Okay, I'm frustrated with her because what my belief system is that when you tell somebody else what to do, it is coercion. I don't like being told what to do. And why don't I like being told what to do? Okay, I don't like being told what to do because then I feel pressure to have to change who I am. Okay, I don't like feeling the pressure of having to change who I am. I want to be accepted for who I am. I want to be loved for who I am. Who is putting that pressure on me though?
You?
Yes. Yes. Ultimately, I am the one. I'm susceptible. I'm easily influenced by other people. So every time I feel a judgment come up about somebody else telling somebody how to live, it's really a call to me to remember that I'm strong. I choose how I live. And nobody, even if they tell me I should live a certain way, it would be my choice if I changed what I was doing. If I violated my own values to change my behavior to suit somebody else, that's what would make me mad, not somebody else telling me I should do something. If somebody told me something that I just thought was so silly, I would just brush it off and it wouldn't bother me at all. I'd be like, you're crazy, right? But something that might be part of my value system, if somebody made me feel like a bad mother, really it's only because that judgment already exists within myself, or a fear of that judgment, or something that is getting triggered and then coming to the surface. So it's really an opportunity. Every time you feel judged or you judge somebody else, it is an opportunity for you to face what your triggers are and why you're being triggered. Okay.
Okay, can I stop you for 1 second? So
Yes.
let's flip this around to the mom being judged or shamed or, whatever. So what is a mechanism that person can use to not let that judgment or feel of shame get under her skin?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if it gets under your skin, first of all, it's an indication that you still have work to do.
Okay.
So it is, you can turn it around and blame the other person back, but then again, we're in the cycle of blame, and then they can come back and blame you and you blame them, and then, it just continues. And so to stop that cycle is like being the change. So if you don't want to feel the shame anymore, you just have to do your own work, and your opinion of yourself, you froze. Okay, good. There you are. Your opinion of yourself has that voice. Your championing voice inside your head has to be louder than the voice of other people.
Yep.
So it's sometimes, if we are allowing ourselves to dip into the shame and to the feelings of insecurity because somebody has judged us, write down a list of the things that you think they're judging you for, and then that is your work. That is the items on that list is the stuff that you have to come to terms with for yourself. So if you think that person thinks I'm a bad mother, I've certainly thought people have thought I was a bad mother, right? So I will write down the things that I think I'm a bad mother about, and then I have to settle with those things. And there is an opportunity to recognize or like reorganize some priorities. Maybe they're right on some level, and their opinion does align with your own opinion of yourself. And you have to, should I change something? You have to ask yourself, should I change something here or should I not? Why haven't I if I think I should? There's always a reason. I'm busy, I'm tired. So then if you list all the reasons why you haven't done it, you'll see that you're doing your best. But anyways, you have to settle with that list of things. And that doesn't mean changing everything. Sometimes it just means I don't agree with that, and I'm going to trust my opinion of myself and listen to that more than I'm going to listen to this other person's opinion of me. That is their baggage. And I know it's so easy to say that. It is. Every judgment that comes at you from another person it's their problem. And you have to leave it with them. You can adopt their opinions of you, but we have enough to deal with in this world. So we just got to leave that with them. And if they want to not be friends with you or not associate with you or think bad things about you, then you're probably not a great match as friends anyway, right? The people in our lives who afford us grace and understand, or at least attempt understanding of where you're coming from, those are the people that are our people. And we need to find those people and let the other relationships go gracefully.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna, are you ready for the next thing, or do you have a question?
Nope.
Okay.
Got it.
So this, I'm not really keeping track of time, Betsy.
Oh, we're fine. We're good.
Okay. So I read a book a year ago, and I just think it's so powerful, you guys. It's called Loving What Is. It's by this woman named Byron Katie, and Byron Katie was a super depressed mom, in her estimation, a terrible mother. And she had, I mean, super, like, she was sleeping on the floor, and then the next morning, all of a sudden, she awoke with this knowledge and understanding, like, had a super spiritual shift. And she realized that she could live in peace for the rest of her life if she applied this system. So if this works for you, that's awesome. It definitely works for me. I would say not everybody is ready for this, and that sounds sort of judgmental. No pun intended. But it's not. Everybody is exactly where they should be. I believe in divine timing, but if this does not resonate with you and it's hard to use, like, just drop it and don't worry about it. But if it does resonate with you, and it did with me, I really recommend it. I think it's such a strong, powerful tool. So she has a system of 4 questions and then some turnarounds. So you fill out this Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, and it's available online. I'm going to give the links to Betsy. And so you have this initial judgment, you fill out this form, and then for each statement, you apply these 4 questions. So I'm going to go through just like one question, just to give you an example. I don't want to take too long. Going through the whole form will take quite a long time. But it does 2 things. It just helps you to see sort of where the root of your judgments and your triggers are coming from. It's hard to like parse it apart on your own. A therapist can help you do that. A spiritual healer can probably help you do that. But sometimes it's hard to know, like, why am I so upset about this person doing this thing that has really no bearing on my life? Like, I am completely unaffected by this thing they're doing, but I'm so angry about it. Like, why? So this will help you uncover that. And then it'll give your brain, this is not scientific, this is how my brain thinks about it, but it gave my brain like new pathways. So when something happened and triggered me, then my brain had a different way to think about it. Instead of just falling into the same old mental patterns and habits of thinking of things, it was like, oh, now my brain has created this new pattern and pathway, and now I can take that one, and just relieved a whole lot of stress and anxiety and frustration, whatever feelings came up. So, okay. This is the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. I am going to read all the questions to you really quick, but I'll just fill in one, and then we'll work on it with that. So you're supposed to think of a stressful situation with someone, for example, an argument. And then as you meditate on that specific time, place, begin to feel. You want to bring up the feelings that you had during that time, because then you're going to be more authentic with the form. And then you're going to just use really short, simple phrases to fill out the form. So number 1 is, in this situation, who angers, confuses, hurts, saddens, and disappoints you, and why? So I would say, like, I am angry with, I'm coming up with a fake person's name, Darla, because I don't think I know any Darlas, because I'm angry with Darla because she thinks I should not co-sleep with my child, which I still do, by the way. And then, in this situation, how do you want him or her to change? What do you want him or her to do? I want Darla to recognize that I have very good reasons for co-sleeping with my child, and I do not believe I'm endangering him. 3, in this situation, what advice would you offer to him or her? Darla shouldn't judge me. She should mind her own business. In order for you to be happy in this situation, what do you need him or her to say, feel, or do? I need Darla to realize all the ways I'm a great mom and stop judging me for this. See my point of view. 5, what do you think her in this situation? What do you think of her in this situation? Make a list. It's okay to be petty and judgmental, she says. Darla is being a bitch and short-sighted. What is it about this person and situation that you don't ever want to experience again? I don't ever want to feel judged for making the best decisions for my child. Okay, so now after I filled that out, I would go through and apply these 4 questions and the turnaround thoughts to them. Okay, so I'm going to pick one that I think is going to be best. Let's see. I'm going to do number 2. I want Darla to recognize all the ways I'm a good mom and stop judging me. Okay, so then the first question she has is it true? Is Darla judging me? And is it true that she's not recognizing how I'm a good mom? In this fake scenario, I'm not sure, actually. Maybe Darla does think I'm a good mom. She disagrees with this one thing. I'm not sure. But let's say I'm pretty sure that she thinks I'm a bad mom. Okay, is it true? Yeah, it's true. Can you absolutely know that it's true? Oh, I think I'm right, but I haven't actually asked her or talked to her about it. So no, I don't actually know if it's true. So then the third question is, how do you react? What happens when I believe the thought that Darla shouldn't judge me and thinks I'm a bad mom? It sucks. It hurts. I can just like feel all the weight of that thought, even though it's a totally fake scenario. It just really sucks. We all care so much about being good moms, right? We're all trying so hard. And when we feel like people aren't seeing our efforts, it really hurts. Really, really hurts. And the fourth question is, who or what would I be if I didn't have that thought? Like if I physically could not think that thought, that Darla would have some opinion of me, I wouldn't be burdened with these feelings. I would be much lighter and freer. If I couldn't actually have the thought that Darla was judging me, I would probably be more focused on what's going on in Darla's life and not so focused on what she's doing to me, which would be nice. All right, so then you're going to turn the thought around. You're actually going to turn it around to the other, the opposite, and yourself. So how that looks. Okay. Darla, I want Darla to recognize all the ways I'm a good mom. Let's just keep it at that. That's really basic. So I'm going to turn it around to the other. I should recognize all the ways that Darla is being a good mom. And then you're supposed to come up with 3 reasons why that might be true. Okay. Wow. Is that what my body's telling me? And my frustration is coming up because I'm spending so much time in defensive mode that really I should be focused on the positive of how Darla is a good mom. It's hard. It's hard. Okay, but she is a good mom. You know what she does better than me? She cooks really healthy food for her children all the time. And she is more consistent with her rules. And something that has nothing to do with me is that she, because of her job, she's able to come up with great activities for her children. Okay, so that's 3 reasons that's true. Then I'm going to turn it around to myself. So the original statement was, I want Darla to recognize I'm a good mom. Actually, what's going on here is that I want myself to recognize that I'm a good mom. And then this bringing up so much emotion for me.
You're like doing a session on yourself without even.
I know, it's Darla.
Yeah, Darla's good. That lady's good. That bitch is good.
You have all this time, you know, it's there. What are the 3 ways that I'm a good mom? Okay. Well, I know that I love my children so much and I sacrifice for them a lot. I know that I'm playful and wanting to explore their creativity, and that I'm not wanting to change who they are. And I know that I'm a good mom because I'm just really thoughtful. I'm just really thoughtful. I'm careful with the choices that I make. And they're not always perfect, but I know I'm always thinking about how I can be better. And then the last one is to turn it around to the opposite. So it's, I want Darla to recognize all the reasons I'm a good mom. And it's really, I want Darla not to recognize all the reasons I'm a good mom. And why would that be true? You know what? I don't need her to recognize that I'm a good mom because I know I'm a good mom. And I don't need her to do that. Maybe she's in a place where she cannot do that right now. And that's okay. I'm going to afford her that. What's another reason I don't want Darla to think I'm a good mom? Because maybe she gets a sense of satisfaction of her own parenting, and she needs that right now. She needs to feel like she's a good mom. And the way she does that is comparison. And that's sad that it affects me, but that's her thing to deal with. And then a last one could be, and you're kind of making these up, but you're just giving your brain different pathways, right? So I don't want Darla to recognize all the ways I'm a good mom, because maybe she doesn't think I'm a good mom, and I want her to be true to herself. I want her to be authentic and feel true to herself. So why would I ask her to change that about herself? Okay. And then the last thing you're going to do is, and this is always hard, you're going to fill in so it's the very last statement you said. What is it about this person and situation that you don't ever want to experience again? I don't ever want Darla to judge me again and think I'm a bad parent. And then you turn it around to the opposite. I am willing for Darla to judge me and think I'm a bad parent because I'm strong enough to take it. And I look forward to Darla judging me and thinking I'm a bad parent. And the reason why you do that is to not give it power, and to allow yourself to be in a state of acceptance of all experiences in your life. And also, every time it comes up, it is just an opportunity to notice where you still have work. So it's self-forgiveness and grace for yourself. Okay, that's the exercise.
That's awesome. I think it's easy for me to see, like, even just watching you do that, it's easy for me to see, like, if that situation arose again, for you to, like, have, like, one of each of those categories, sentences come up in your mind, like, to be able to say them really quickly to yourself, like, no, this is why I do this. This is why I don't care. This is why she probably did that. Okay, we're good,
Yeah.
And easier. It's just, like, accessible, right, in your brain after you've done the work to, like, access those thoughts and make sure that you are feeding that to yourself too.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of times where I've done the worksheet and I still struggle with the same issues because they're just that embedded and they're that deep. And so I probably need to do the worksheet again. And I just haven't hit upon the right thing. Like it's just a little bit elusive. And sometimes that happens, and we're just patient with ourselves and we keep doing the work. And if we don't feel like doing the work, then that's fine too. We're just patient with ourselves.
I think that's a lot about this, just some of my mindset, even the past couple of years. When I had my second, for sure, like when I had my first, it was like, I was changed so much, and here's how I was changed. And then kind of when I had my second, like, even grew my confidence in mothering and what I believed and what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do, and what I cared about and that sort of thing. And I think the biggest thing is that, like, for me, it was so intuitive. It was so in my gut, right? Every decision, everything I made about breastfeeding, about co-sleeping, about potty, like all these big topic things was so intuitive. I knew in my gut, like, what the right answer was for me. And I see so many moms, like, looking outward to those answers. And what do you think I should do? And what do you think? And, like, for me, like, if I could just give one piece of advice to, pregnant mamas or whatever, it's like, just be true to who you are. The best way to mother your kids. Like, You are given that gift when you become a mother, and it's whether or not you can tap into it and listen to it and have the confidence to listen to it is how successful and happy you're going to be with that. Right. So like, Darla can do what she wants and have her, baby in the crib every night. And that's fine because that works for Darla. Maybe Darla is a lawyer and she gets up at the ass crack of dawn and has to go to work. Like, great for Darla. So I think a lot of that is just that intuitive motherhood, like listening, and then, step 2, acceptance and being confident in it. So I love
I want to add to that. I completely agree. And I encourage anybody who doesn't feel like they've ever done something out of the recommended protocol to do something, especially if something, to do it. Like, it was, okay, so my daycare, here's an example. My daycare wanted us to have my oldest son potty trained by a certain point, and it just wasn't happening. And my son is so headstrong, right? He's like Aries through and through. He just is going to make up his own mind about everything. We argued one night for 2 hours because we wanted him to go potty before bed and he didn't. I mean, it's like he is going to make up his own mind. So I didn't want to add one more thing to the list that was going to be an everyday, multiple times a day argument, right? That's just not, it didn't feel good to me. And so they asked me, they moved him up to this class, which was great, even though he wasn't potty trained. And the teacher, I don't think she was asking maliciously at all, or even judgmentally. She was trying to understand, but she asked me why we weren't potty training him. And I just explained that this is who he is, and this is why, all the things I just explained. And she's like, oh, you don't want another fight? And I said, yes. And I walked away from that conversation feeling so empowered. Like, I know I am making the right choice for my child. And it worked. He potty trained overnight. And he, maybe not the nighttime potty training, but the daytime. And it was really, really quick. And then all of a sudden he was potty trained and the teacher was like, oh, he was ready. And I was like, yes, he was ready. But he had to choose it. He had to be the one to choose it. I know his personality. So it's like knowing your child, trusting your intuition, and then receiving the benefit from following your gut. And now my youngest, the doctor said, he needs to take iron supplements, but he was already really constipated. And like, how anemic is he? Not very. Okay, I didn't give him the iron supplements and he's fine. No anemia. Like, I just trusted my gut on that. And sometimes it's even going against doctors' recommendations. Every book you read is by a doctor, and then this one contradicts this one, which contradicts this one and that one. You can go in circles spinning, trying to figure out the right thing, and then working for months because it makes logical sense to your brain, and you're going to work for months and months and months trying to force your kid into a program that they're rejecting. It's like, you're right, 100%. We've got to learn to listen to our intuition and trust ourselves and trust our children.
Right. And that's the thing, is that, like, who is that going to serve if you're putting you and your son through that every single day to try? Like, you're going to give up. Like, you just mentally, you're going to be worn down yourself trying to get someone to potty train. Like, how awful is that? Like, what is the point? So yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, I didn't, I wanted to make the daycare happy. And I think that, and I didn't want
what we're supposed to do, right?
Right, we're supposed to do that. And there's all these, and then you see your friends potty training their children and it's so easy to think like, oh, my child should be doing this or whatever. But we just recognize that as a belief that we're adopting from somebody else, and it's actually not ours. And if I listen to myself, I don't believe that he needs to be potty trained yet, and there's no good reason. So not a good enough reason for me.
Yeah, I had that even when I was pregnant with Davis. Towards the end, I had high blood pressure, and I had to use my voice, which was pretty, at that point, I'm pretty kind of shocked that not shocked that I did it, but that it worked. Mm-hmm. And I have people that when they hear that story of me like going into labor, and they were like, oh, wow, like, did you have to be induced and stuff? And I was like, no, but I had to fight from 37 weeks on when they were like, okay, protocol is to induce you because you have high blood pressure. It was like, well, do I need to go to the hospital? Like, do I need to have them today? No, you don't. See you next week. And they would say, okay, bye. See you next week. And like, I knew right there was like, this is an emergency situation. I'm safe. I'm healthy. I'm getting checked on. Like, let's just see how my body does. And sure enough, I went into labor on my own. And so it's like, if I wouldn't have pushed that, if I wouldn't have stuck to my gut even then, like that story could have been very different for both of us, So yeah, listen to the
And
ladies.
yeah, right. Listen to the gut, but also don't make up the gut, right? If sometimes your gut falls in line with medical advice. I had a gallbladder removal in my second trimester while I was pregnant, and yeah, it was crazy. But they were telling me that if I had a gallbladder attack in the third trimester, it could cause an early labor. And I actually went to see an energy healer, not specifically about that, but just in general. And she agreed that the medical advice was sound. But even before I went to see her, I knew that I was in agreement with the medical advice. So sometimes it falls in line and sometimes it doesn't. You just, like you said, trust your gut.
Well, and even my husband still, I mean, God love them. They do the best they can, but he, my second son had a cold and snotty nose for like a week before Christmas this year. And then he got a fever and it was like 2 days. And I was like, he's got an ear infection. He gets snot in his, it doesn't drain. It's been going on long enough. Now he's got a fever. I'm like, he has an ear infection. And my husband's like, okay, so you're going to take him in? I'm like, yeah, I am. And it's like, we just, and then the doctor's like, yep, an ear infection. You're like, okay, yep, I knew it. Cause like all these things are out of line with like what I know to be my happy, healthy kid. And there's a reason for it, It's not like I'm like trigger happy to take my kid in, but you can assess and make the best decision for your family, no matter what the spectrum it falls on, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, what else do we got to talk about, Kristin?
Well, that was it for the judgment that I came up with. So I don't know, what else do you want to talk about?
Oh, I have one other thing that I was just thinking for the current temperature with our pandemic situation going on.
Yeah.
I just see so many, moms especially, obviously everyone is dealing with their own stuff, but moms especially, the anxiety can spin very quickly, and myself included. Like I have had to like work to do certain things over the past 2 weeks to limit, social media and that sort of thing. But like, what is a great tool for moms that are like spinning with anxiety? And I'm thinking like, whether that hits you at the end of the day or that when you wake up in the morning, like what can we do as like, a 5-10 minute fix to like get us back to this good headspace to be able to, take care of our kids and just have like a, somewhat happy, normal day, don't want that to ruin what we have right in front of us. Right.
Yeah. It's such a good question. So, there's a number of things, and some of it is going to be dependent on who the person is and what works for them. But so the first thing to recognize is that behavior is caused by emotions. Emotion is caused by thoughts, beliefs. So if you can trace things back, so if right now we're just talking about anxiety and not behavior, that's, anxiety can lead to all sorts of behaviors or lack thereof. But if we just go to the anxiety and you catch yourself in major anxiety and you're just uncomfortable, when you're able to, it's good to go back and reflect on what thoughts are causing that anxiety, right? What are you scared of? Anxiety is chronic worry, and then added like agitation, so increased like stimulation of the body. And our body, panic attack is like way overstimulated, but like nervous system, right? So we want to reduce the stimulation immediately, get the noise down, get the lights low, and that's more panic attack, though anxiety leads to panic attacks. I'm not saying anybody's going to start having panic attacks, but anxiety is like low level, right? So same thing applies. You want to reduce the stimulation for your nervous system, and everybody's nervous system is calibrated differently. So don't say this person doesn't need to do that and I'm frustrated that they don't. Like, don't compare. We know ourselves, right? We know ourselves, or we're learning to know ourselves, and we accept who we are, because who we are comes with a multitude of gifts as well as challenges. But I've definitely had a lot of anxiety in my life. Definitely in my 20s, I had an anxiety disorder, so I've worked with anxiety a lot. But yeah, so we go back, we get to a calm place. If we are able to remove yourself from the kids yelling and screaming, of the duties of the moment, please do. Get recentered. You need to turn off the TV and the phone, and put the phone down, and or use the phone for something beneficial that lowers your stimulation. So but a lot of what gets us spun up is other people posting on social media and their fear, and then we get wrapped up in their fear. If you go back and analyze when that fear started, it's like, oh yeah, I was reading that post and then that post and that post, and all these people are really worried, and I just went right into that, and their fear and their worry became my worry. Or it's like, I'm really worried that I'm going to get sick, and then then there's the worst case scenarios. If you can identify what a worst case scenario is, then you really know where you're starting from. You know what you're fearful of, and that's where you put your attention, or your, not your attention, but that's where your work is to be done if you want to do some work. So like in this whole thing, if fear ever comes up for me, which it does very rarely, but if it does, it's around my family getting sick and my parents. And so I have fear around their death. And the implications of that for me. So if I want to go into that and explore why I'm fearful of that, and the consequences of their death, what that means to me, I can. I might do that one day. Okay, so, but mostly I'm not very fearful, and that's just a result of all the work I've done. So the other thing is raising your vibration. How do you personally raise your vibration? Music is huge for me. My guides have shown me, okay, I was in a really, really deep meditation. It was a hypnosis session, but I'll call it a deep meditation for the sake of they're the same thing. So I was really, really super deep meditation. I said, show me something true. And because I didn't know what else to ask right then. And they showed me, if I put on my music, they're like, they just send me images, right? So they're like, put on your music. I put on my music, and whatever song it was, I don't even remember now. But they showed me, like, I could feel my body merging into the music. It's like my body became one with the musical vibrations, because right, that's a vibration. It's sound waves, and then my body is a vibration. Everything's energy, so it all commingles. And so I don't know if that's true for everybody. That's certainly true for me. Is I can use music, put on a happy song, and boost my mood right up immediately. That's easier when I'm not already filled with anxiety. If you're already anxiety filled, you need to purge off some of that, like the top layer of that energy, and stop the mental patterns, or else you're just going to be continuing to spin while you're trying to listen to music and thinking you should be raising your vibe. And that does not help anybody when you're trying to do all those things in coordination. So if you need to skim that top layer off, take off, like that's when you lower the stimulation. And okay, the last thing I'll suggest is to feel the anxiety without doing anything. Usually when we have an emotion that's really, really uncomfortable, and then we have a resulting reaction, something that we do, it's because we're not processing the emotion, right? We're trying to put it somewhere. We're either getting mad and lashing out at somebody else. We're trying to get rid of that emotion. We're, I don't know, throwing something, or having a panic attack, or thinking, if I stay really busy, I'm going to just like work right through this, right? If I'll just distract myself from it, but it doesn't actually go away. It just kind of gets buried below the surface. So if you're trying to act out your emotions, you're not processing them. So you need to sit and just feel the emotion, drop the storyline that's in your head, right? I'm going to get sick. They're going to get sick. Da, 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 all the chatter, like let that gently go. And then you just feel the sensation of the anxiety, which is uncomfortable, but this is where your tough, like brave mommy pants come on, and you just allow your body to feel anxiety. You breathe into it. You picture the energy of your body touching it, right? And then you breathe deeply into it. You picture the breath going right into wherever that anxiety is. It's a physical sensation. It comes in waves. It's in your body. You're feeling it. It's real. You right? So you breathe into it, And then as you breathe out, you picture it leaving your body. If you know meditation, if you know yoga, you can do all of those things too. All that breathing, deep breathing is a great way to let it go. And then when you're ready, you feel like you're more of an open vessel, like you have less going on, less stimulation. Turn on the music, turn on Friends, that's what I would do. Turn on a comedy, turn on something that lifts your spirit. Okay, I said that was the last thing, but I'm going to do one more, and it is I posted this. It was Elizabeth Gilbert's, but I think the point is the same. You have to be in the moment, right? Recognize all the things that are in front of you, and notice that you're not sick right now. The people around you, unless they are sick, are not sick right now. That the sun is shining, and the birds are chirping, and my children are laughing right there, and something delicious is cooking on the stove. And I have a great show on in front of me. And for once, my kids are not arguing, and I'm so excited. Or they are arguing. Then you can focus on that, right? You focus on whatever's right in front of you. Take it to the moment. You want to get in the moment.
Awesome.
And then, yeah, your anxiety will shift.
Yeah. I think a lot of that is like stuff that we've, had anxiety about in the past. And then obviously this situation specifically heightens all that. Like you said with your parents, and like I feel the same way. Like they're in Iowa. I haven't seen them since Christmas. They're supposed to be out here next week. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like if they get sick, then I can't go there and I can't be there, like all this stuff. Like
Right.
definitely, as we get older, we think about, but now this is like heightened that situation. So yeah, I've been dealing a lot of like meditating at night, like when the boys are down, like that's my time to do my little routine. And then I've also been trying to exercise and get outside, because that definitely helps me. I can see that too, though, like getting the top layer off before, okay, then going for a run or then doing yoga or something like that, like getting that layer off, because it could seem like a distraction for sure if you just jump right into that.
Well, and running is good. Exercising is good. Dancing it off is good. But make sure that so if you're going to do something like that, totally works. But you don't want to just go for the run and forget about it. I want you to hold the energy in your body and then start running. If you're going to paint, hold the energy in your body for a second, start painting. And it's going to come out through the painting. It's going to come out through the running. Dance it out. But don't just go to dance and forget about it. Like just find it in your body and then move it, because if you're moving energy, like the feeling is just energy. So if you're moving energy through the body, you're going to move it out too, and then you're going to raise your vibe at the same time. So exercise is a great technique. You're also usually really in the moment when you're doing those things. So that I recommend those things too.
Yay, awesome. Well, I definitely think that's helpful for a lot of people that are trying to make sense of a lot of things right now, and also trying to, keep things as normal as possible for their kids and their family and all that.
Yeah.
At the same time is going through all this stuff. So
yeah.
Yay. Any other last tips? Otherwise, we will, like I said, post this and share this, and feel free to share with your other mom friends that might need a minute to sit with a cup of tea or glass of wine or morning coffee and just kind of have some info shared with them.
I'll share one more idea, and this is it's one thing to take the anxiety down, but also it's another to invite love and compassion into your system, right? So we do want to reduce some of that discomfort that we're feeling. I mean, I can't speak for you, actually. I don't know if you do. I do always. And I much prefer when I'm in a state of love. Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I turned on Siri. So anyway, a good practice is, again, you don't want to just switch from anxiety to love. It's like, it's so hard, but if you take that top layer off, then you can invite, like where love already exists in your body, you just invite it to come to the surface, right? And then you feel your heart opening, meditating into your heart center, heart chakra is super, super powerful for bringing in the love vibration. And then you can send it out as a gift to the world. I believe that's actually like one of the most powerful things that we can do right now is using our energy. If everything's energy and we live in a quantum space, then like there's no time and space. You can send your love to anybody and they will, if they want, if they're open, if their field is open, they can receive it. You can leave it up to them whether or not they receive it because they are a sovereign being. This is kind of a little higher level spirituality, but you get the point. And so an easy practice is every time you wash your hands, you're washing your hands a lot right now, right? Every time you wash your hands, instead of being like, oh, I'm going to get the germs off, I'm fearful, it's like, I'm going to send love to everybody. I'm sending healing to everybody. I'm picturing all the sick people getting better. Oh gosh, they're taking off their ventilators. I don't know what the equipment is, but, and they're not being intubated and they're getting up and they're holding their family members, and we want to like manifest the best possible scenario, right? So we're going to do a lot of visualizations, at least I am, to help people. And that's like a really super powerful thing that anybody can do anytime they wash their hands.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love it.
Okay, that's my last thing.
Yay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to have all this info, and I definitely will be like rewatching this when I can like sit and like not, you know what I mean? Like process it.
Actually process it as a,